Okay, so to get started on this drawing, what we're going to do is we're going to start in our top view. We're just going to draw a circle. So I'm going to go C for circle. And I'm going to start my circle just over here to the left-hand side. And I'm going to make this first circle a diameter. So I'm going to hit D of 2. Diameter of 2, circle. Okay. Then beside that circle, I'm going to use the line command. And I'm going to draw a line, set of lines, that looks like a W. Okay. Next, beside these, we're going to draw a star shape. I don't want it to be a perfect star, so do not take a lot of time to do the perfect star. And draw a star shape. Try to make it approximately the same size as our W and our circle. Make sure at the end our O snap is on, so it snaps back there to the beginning or the end of that other line. There we go. Okay, if like mine, yours is a little bit large, notice mine is quite a bit taller than my W and my 0 or my circle. So I'm going to scale mine down a little bit. I'm going to go SC for scale. I'm going to select it. Pick the middle of it for the base point, and I'm just going to pull it out here and make it a little bit smaller. I keep snapping to other points here. Come on, work with me. About there. And then move that up into place a little bit. So we need to scale a little bit so it's a little bit more appropriate sized. All right, next, we're going to draw a polygon, P-O-L for polygon. We're going to draw a 5-sided polygon, so a pentagon. I'm going to pick my start point. Doesn't matter whether it's inscribed or circumscribed. Again, just try to make it approximately the same size as our other objects there. All right, next, what we're going to draw is we're going to use the line command once again. I'm going to draw a diamond-ish shape. Now, here's the important part on the diamond. Is the diamond, I do not want those ends to meet. I want that to be left open. So again, draw the diamond shape, but leave the end of it open here. All right, last shape. I'm going to come down here at the bottom. I'm going to draw a small circle down here at the bottom, something like that. Then I'm going to draw a V shape, something that looks like this. From there to the center of the circle, back up to there. So a V shape. Then the rocket science we're going to do on the top. We're going to draw an arc from that end point over to somewhere in this middle of the arc about here, down to that end point. And then trim it out. So you basically made an exclamation point. All right, go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 copies of this. So we're going to copy. I'm going to select all of those shapes, hit enter, make a copy right straight down about there, and I'm going to turn polar on so I do get it straight, right about there, and right about there. Okay, so we're going to start at the top. This is another way, or the next way of doing solids. The first way we did solids, we just used these primitive solids over here. That's all we've done so far. Now we're going to make these other shapes. We're going to make these into solids. So let's see how we're going to do that. And I said solids, not solids. Into 3-dimensional objects. So we're going to go ahead and use the extrude command, which is EXT as a shortcut for extrude. EXT. I'm going to put the first set, all 6 of those objects. I'm going to click. I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to extrude those at 2. Now with that, twist those up in 3D a little bit, and let's take a look at what we've got. All right, all of these are 3-dimensional objects now. EXT for extrude, extrude. All of these are 3D objects now. Look at the first one. We're going to hover over that first one. The first one, the cylinder, when you hover over it, it all highlights. It recognizes that one object. Look at this next one, the W. The W recognizes all these different parts here, okay? The star has a bunch of different parts on it. The polygon's all one part. The diamond's all a bunch of different parts. The exclamation point's all kinds of different parts. So with that, these are a little bit different. If I hover over top of this first one, notice what it says, 3D solid. If I hover over top of these parts, it says surface. Our goal in here is to make 3D solids. The reason for that is our 3D printer only recognizes 3D solids. Our router table only recognizes something if you create it as a solid. So everything we're striving for, we're not striving to make a pretty picture in here. We're striving at doing the manufacturing part of these things, and we want to be able to manufacture this. So doing wireframes doesn't do us any good. So I'm going to try to show you how to make these things into solids, the ones that did not work. One thing I do want you to do here, though, at this point, is go ahead and change this to a conceptual view. It's a little bit easier to see them. A little bit harder to tell they're not solids. You actually have to hover over top of it. But you can see things a little bit better. All right. Now that it's conceptual, go ahead and change back to your top view. And when I say change back to your top view, I'm always referencing coming over here, changing it to top over there in that top left corner. So now, what we're going to do is we have to do something else to this next set to try to make these into solids. We have to region them together. What region does? It takes a 2D object and tries to put it together, it takes a singular object and tries to put it together into one object. So let's give that a shot. Shortcut for region is REG. Going to pick a box around this middle set and hit enter. Notice it changed some of those up a little bit. Now we're once again going to go extrude, EXT, enter. Extrude those at 2 inches. And take a look at those. All right, so now, taking a look at this next set. Notice guys, please listen. Notice the W is still those sheets, and it's still a surface. However, the star and the exclamation point are now solids, 3D solid and 3D solid. What's the difference between the exclamation point and the star, between the W and the diamond? What's the difference between those? They're closed figures. This one does not close on the end. This one's just a simple line. So now our goal is on the last set is we're going to make all these into solids, because this time we have 2 that are still not solids. So I'm going to go back to my top view. Again, it's right over here, named view to top. The diamond is pretty easy. You're just going to grab one of the grips, pull it up there to that end point. Now that diamond is closed. For the W, a little bit harder. All I'm going to do is I'm going to add a thickness to the letter W. I'm going to come in here, come over, something about like this, and add that thickness to the W. So closed off the diamond, added the thickness to the W. Okay, now that you have those all closed off, you're going to go ahead and use region. So it's REG for region. Select all the objects, hit enter. Here you can even tell in this previous step, it changed all these and shaded them. They're not extruded yet, but it turned these into planes. They're little 2D planes now, and it shaded all those. So now all we need to do is extrude those same objects and extrude them at 2. And now when you look at them, all these objects, those are now 3D solid and a 3D solid. So all I'm really trying to show you here is this very simple little exercise here, but it gets back to that part of your 2D drawings. You have to know how to make a good quality 2D drawing and make something that will be a closed figure. If you do a drawing like this and you have a line, and say I put that line back over top of that line, and I put that line back there, and back here, whoops, not like that one, like so, and make this object, the likelihood of this working as a region is not going to be there, because these lines are partial lines that go back and forth on top of each other. They have made AutoCAD better, that it will recognize these lines are on top of each other a little bit better. Let's double check and see. Region, cross our fingers, and it did region that. I'm kind of surprised. But one thing it definitely will not do, if I zoom way in here and do that, oh, that looks like a great object. Go here to region, it's not going to region that. And sometimes when you call me over, oh, Mr. Wister, this region isn't working. I can sit there for 10 minutes and try to find this little teeny tiny spot where they don't connect. And it's really a lot of times more work than what it is just to redraw it correctly. Because trying to find that one spot, I knew where this one was, but trying to find that over the entire drawing that you have is sometimes impossible. So do try to be careful. Do try to make your drawings correctly, and it'll save yourself a lot of headache. All right, now, to submit this, what you're going to do, you're going to put it in an isometric view. So you're going to click on one of the corners of your cube. And when you do this, I want it to be in a normal isometric view, and I'll show you what I mean by that. This is looking at the back side of the object. It's kind of upside down from the order we did it. So I don't like that. I don't like this one. It's upside down from what we did. However, I do like this one. I don't mind it at all. Like so, or like so. So get it into one of those two views, here or here, and zoom in on that nice and tight, and submit that. And there you go.